If you're watching this video, you probably have some questions and or concerns about the Amazon FBA return process. Today I want to share with you the 4-step process and how this all actually works and what this means for us as Amazon sellers, such as how much is it going to cost you at the end of the day, and then also how you can actually manage your returns and track the status of those Amazon FBA returns. All right, so as I mentioned, there's a 4-step process on how this entire thing works. It's important to note that this is for FBA sellers that are using their Fulfillment by Amazon program. This is not applicable to those seller fulfilled orders where you're the Fulfillment by Merchant or FBM. So it all begins at the Amazon warehouse. A customer will go ahead and place an order, and then once they receive the product, they're at a decision. Are they going to keep it or are they going to return it? Now, according to Amazon's FBA return policy, for most products, they have about 30 days to actually return that product for a variety of reasons. I would say that their policy is in the favor of the buyer, give them such a length of time and variety of reasons for returning the item, but unfortunately it's just what we have to deal with as FBA sellers. Now let's say a customer goes ahead and makes a return. They end up sending that return back to Amazon. That product goes the whole way back to Amazon to their fulfillment center, and then at that point Amazon will inspect the product to see if it's defective or what is actually wrong with the product. Shown here are the condition codes that Amazon will apply to any returned items. If Amazon inspects your product and deems that it's actually sellable, they'll go ahead and check it back into your inventory. Now, I would say this happens the majority of time where Amazon receives a return. They tape it or package it back together, and then they'll put it back into your FBA available inventory. Now, if it's damaged or if the customer damaged it or if it's defective or any of these other reasons that are listed here, Amazon will mark that product as such, and if it cannot be placed back into your inventory at Amazon, they'll go ahead and mark it unsellable and unfulfillable. At that point, you have a decision whether or not you want to liquidate that item, if you want to remove it from Amazon and send it back to your business or your home's location, or the last option is just to donate or discard it. So that is the entire process of what happens when someone places a return and whether or not it goes back into your inventory or not. So the next step that we did discuss is how you can actually manage your FBA returns, track the status of those returns, and then also gain an estimate of how much it's actually costing you per return. There are a few different ways how you can access your returns and to manage them, but I found this FBA returns dashboard to be the quickest and easiest way to really get everything at a glance and to understand what's going on. Now, I will place a link in the description so you can directly access this. But if you ever want to go to it, you can just go to your menu, go to inventory, and then select FBA inventory. Once you're there, you'll go up to the inventory tab here and then select FBA returns. And you'll be met with this page for all of your products. I have this filtered down to a single ASIN for one of the test products here, the golf towel, which will give us a couple different scenarios that we can take a look at. The first thing is make sure that you select the filters. It'll say to applied. And it'll typically be on the last 7 days or last day. So if you're not seeing any returns and you know that you do have returns over the past month or so, make sure you change that to the last 180 days or the last 365 days the last year. Okay, so I'm going to go through the columns here just to give you an idea of what each column represents and how it's actually applicable for use as an Amazon seller. The first important one that we want to take a look at is the customer return reason. The customer is not obligated to enter some feedback or a reason, but typically they do. So this is very important for 2 reasons. One, will give you an idea what is actually wrong with that product in case other items in your batch are affected. And then 2, it'll also give you very useful and beneficial feedback on how you can actually improve your product or your customer experience so you can limit the amount of returns that you actually receive. Now, unfortunately for me, in this first product, it says I accidentally ordered the wrong item. That is nothing that I could have prevented. This customer just simply ordered the wrong item and went to return it. So let's go through some other columns, and then I'll show you some other examples for this customer return and how it actually apply that to my business. So you have some dates here. You have the date that Amazon actually authorized the return, the date that they were refunded, and then the final date where the unit was received at Amazon. The disposition is Amazon determining if you can resell this and place it back into your inventory, or if it's going to be defective and you'll have to either discard it, liquidate it, or send it back to your home or business's location. The last 2 columns are the second most important, I would say. That's the return status. So I can see that this entire return process is complete and this item was actually returned to my inventory. So I didn't have to do anything. Amazon took care of this for me and they placed it back into my inventory after investigating and inspecting that product. Now, the last thing that we want to do is to select View Details. This is going to give us a lot more information on what really happened, as well as some other useful dates. So once you click this, you can see everything from the status to the disposition, to the customer return reason, and then also the order history of it being placed the whole way until it was marked back received at Amazon. One thing, the last thing I want to show you here is what I find very useful if you select the View Report. This is going to show us our cost and all the transactions that happened for this specific order ID. So this deems the question, what are we paying for a return? Now, more than likely, and it's kind of vague if you look at the FBA return policy, you should always receive your referral fee back to you, which is about 15% of your sales price for the majority of products. Now, what you did not receive back and what you're not refunded for is the FBA fee for them to package that, store that item, and to ship it to the customer originally. So I would always assume that you're going to lose out on this money, as well as you're going to give back the revenue to the customer, obviously. If you want to figure out as far as net what you ended up losing, which should just be that FBA fee, all you have to do is look at the right-hand side here where it says total and add up these columns. So we have negative $16.27, which is the amount that was returned. And we'll add that to $11.48, which was the original transaction and the amount that I received from this sale. As you can see here, I lost $4.79 on this return, which if you look at my FBA fee for this product, it's generally about the same amount. So anytime you have a return, just expect that you're going to lose that FBA fee, and that is why it is so important to go ahead and to prevent the returns as best as you can. All right, the last thing I want to share with you is 2 other scenarios where a customer returned my product and how I would react to it. So let's look at this different product here. This was a return where a customer said, product is not as described on website. Now, this is very important because this is something I could quickly fix on my listing if I'm incorrectly describing something or I'm misrepresenting the product itself. So I'll select this comment and it'll provide me some more comment onto that feedback. And the customer mentioned, did not notice the cigarette at the bottom. Now, if you look at this product, it is has a cigar at the bottom. Besides that, maybe I would take this comment into consideration, especially if there were multiple returns for this reason. I would go ahead and I would blow up that image, that logo, so customers could clearly see that there is a cigar at the bottom and if they would be willing to purchase that product or not. Fortunately, this the disposition for this product was deemed as sellable, so it went back to my inventory. However, sometimes we run into some different scenarios where we have no comment here, as you can see, and the unit was actually never returned for some reason. If I go to the details here, I can see that it's pretty vague on why Amazon actually refunded this customer and why they did not expect a returned unit. Typically, this means that it was lost in transit and Amazon would go ahead and refund you the entire amount because the carrier or Amazon were at fault. However, in this case, I really have no reasoning. So in a case like this, I would probably reach out to Amazon seller support just to gain a better idea of why this unit wasn't returned, what actually went on, and what I was refunded, if anything at all. Okay, and the last scenario I just want to share with you is just if the disposition is defective, such as this product here, Amazon deemed this unfulfillable and it would be auto-removed. So based off of your auto-return settings, this product would either come back to my business or I may have my return settings just to say, go ahead and to liquidate that item, which is usually what I do for my products. Thank you for watching, and if you're interested in what a day in the life of a real Amazon seller looks like, not the BS, make sure to watch the video in the end screen now.